servants' quarter, where did where's that extra wall?
It comes out right in the kitchen. So like, there's a kind of long hallway behind, that runs the length of the kitchen, behind like the stove and those cabinets. And there's a door right in the middle of that. So you should feel free to go up those back steps if you want.
We went up there.
Did you go up there?
There's steep like it.
They're pretty steep, and I don't think there's any railing on there right now. Yeah, so there's not little things like that.
Yeah, there's some.
So 50, 60 years ago when we were kids, we used to always like to walk up the railroad tracks here. And not that far back, but one year I was walking out here and there had been heavy rain on the other side of the track for the river. And it washed out the hillside rather badly. And I could see all kinds of sparkling stuff in there. Of course, it was broken bottles and some complete. I got 3 complete bottles I picked up, including a large one like that. But the interesting thing I found down there was the door of a cast iron stove about this big, sticking out of the dirt. Cast into the stove was 1879. Now, it could have been a railroad stove or whatever it would be. It's a small door, but sometimes they had small doors on big. I've got a picture of that here in my phone if anybody wants to see the door. The other comment is maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, at the antique store downtown here, they had labels from Bethania, original labels this thick, hundreds and hundreds of them. They were selling for $1 a piece.
Yeah. But you would get around in there more, maybe
I got a sarsaparilla when I got it home, stuck on a bottle. Yeah. I don't know where those ended up, or if they still have some more, or I don't know, but they had a huge stack of original labels.
We're digging around a little bit more then.
That would probably be Jeff Reardon. He owned the shop, and he's closed it down and took his stuff out.
Okay. Or maybe it's worth reaching out to him.
I believe he's got the website Osceola then and now.
Okay.
So we can get you in touch with them.
I got a picture of that sarsaparilla label too, if you wanted to see what it looks like. It's
Well, we have,
quite
that's
incredible.
one of the things that came, Paul, did you pull that? Did you pull that down?
Yeah.
We have like a big frame of all the labels.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That needs to be redone. It's kind of a mess, but.
See if they have the
We
same
were
one.
fortunate that there were so many historic photos left in the house, and that everyone else who's been a part of the history of the place, you know, agreed that they needed to stay with the house and, you know, be a part of the house. So, is it like screwed to the wall anymore?
It's actually got a security thing on it, so I
Good.
can't get it down.
Well, it's right over there if anyone wants to look at it. Bunch of labels.
What are the pictures about the fireplace?
I think those are the same as these.
Oh,
I'm not sure when those were done, quite a while ago.
Yeah.
So I want to pull them down and get them rematted and reframed and freshened up.
Yeah.
Maybe get some, I don't know where, I of course don't have original films or anything of any of the pictures, but if those were, you know, like vintage photos, I'd rather scan them and have those out, getting
Do we
sun
have this
burned,
postcard?
and
We
put
do,
them in
don't
we?
books
Oh,
and
yeah.
books.
So we'd have that name down there,
Probably have the whole.
and that name there, so we could probably find out who that girl is.
You think you could?
Well, if we've got the postcard, I thought we did, with the writing on it. There's a name here who it's addressed to, and there's a name down here who signed it.
I have a box, let me see if one of the ones that I have, I'll look at it.
We got that picture, I think we were going to that stuff.
It's a postcard. And I know we've got the front part, but I'm not sure if we've got the back part. And Mike said we do.
Let me see here.
Is it fun to stay here, or is it kind of scary, like they think?
Is that the same one? Yes.
Yeah, it's the same one.
That's it.
So Maria Alberg and Julia Callahan.
Well, we've done some, smudging and safe burning. Julie has been the person who has orchestrated the entire cleansing of the entire interior of this house multiple times. She's come in here and they washed the walls and the ceilings and all over woodwork, and every square inch, and I can't tell you what a difference that makes to the energy of the house, to just how it is to be in the house. It's amazing. So I think we probably have a few more rounds of that than usually. Yeah. But
I
she's
think
been
in the
great.
winter it would be nice.
It's fabulous.
When the leaves drop, it's spectacular.
It's a pretty special place.
Are you building a deck out here?
I know there was.
We're rebuilding the deck up. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically there was a railing, a big heavy wood railing that went around the perimeter of this thing, and it was kind of falling off, and
It scared us.
it was one of the first things we did is take that down. Because I think a bad railing is worse than no railing at all. And it was big and heavy, and I think, we were worried it was gonna damage some things that hasn't dropped, so. We haven't quite decided what to do. We're trying to be strategic and not start too many things all at once and prioritize things, but sometimes when
When you're in
Sam's here, he
California,
gets going on something,
And then
he
we
just
do
wants
is like
to.
text or make a phone call to see, right? So we're going to negotiate
Exactly.
what we get done when.
Really want to get that bathroom done.
That would be nice, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the first things we ripped apart. Yeah.
I can put that tub back in.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the plan. I
It
kind
had
of
a
wanted to
modern
do
tub.
something different, but ultimately it's.
It has modern tub, and Sam decided that he really liked it to be more historic, and so he went, there's a place called Bauer Brothers in North Minneapolis that's all old house stuff, and so there's like an entire room full of bathtubs, entire room full of sinks, entire rooms of trim and doors and everything, and so he went down and picked one, and so we're just gonna.
We've gotten a lot of stuff from architectural antiques too, right by our house.
Yeah, there's another place a little nicer to go to. He actually
Yeah.
bought some new fixtures, so we're gonna replace the fixtures that are on the landing, in the front hallway with ones that are more appropriate to the period of the house. And we're gonna add some light in that landing upstairs, because there's no light up there at all. So we're working on that. So they're getting rewired and restored right now, and those hopefully will get in, by Thanksgiving, which is when Sam comes back.
Yes, we have some mystery switches that don't seem to be doing anything that we're gonna have to do something to.
Yes, and then there's one that is the dinner bell. Have you heard about the Jensen dinner bell?
No.
So we go.
Yeah, I'll go throw the switch.
When they moved here, they had a bunch of little kids and all this property. So Nancy told us that her dad put in this dinner bell, which we didn't know what it was, and when you turn it on, it's here it is. So he called his kids in for dinner. It kind of makes you jump when you don't know it's there. Isn't that cute? They had, I think, a really nice childhood out there, that family. So, and in the little room, I don't know, did anybody get to see the house cistern? That's something everybody should see. So there's a little room out the formal front door of the house. And you open up the bench and there's this gigantic cistern that is in the basement that I believe the house was made to capture the rain in this cistern, and it was like the gray water for
They
the
had a gutter
house.
system, yeah. And then we read too, and you can see in a couple spots that all the bedrooms upstairs had a little tiny sink.
Which they
And there was
still.
rainwater that they could wash up with. And you can see where there was one in that little room as well. But in the basement, I mean, the cistern is like, it kind of threw the boiler guys to it, because they're like, wait a second.
He was mapping out the
He's trying to map out, and
space.
he's like, we're missing a room.
So
And it's
all
basically a
open.
10 foot by 10 foot by 10 foot cube. So it held a lot of water.
Oh,
But it's dry,
It's dry
so
now.
that system got dismantled at some point, but, it was crazy. Yeah, so everybody should take a peek at that, 'cause that's kind of.
I've got the tile piled up on that thing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
See if I can- It's interesting.
So we're having fun. It's really a lot of fun. And as a person who writes stories about things for my living, it's really fun. So we love what we do. So it just fits into that.
places have you done your work? Like,
So locally, we just opened a museum for the Sugar Club organization, which is like a classical music organization. They hold concerts and they do youth outreach and sponsor musicians and things like that. And so their museum is in the Landmark Center, which is in downtown St. Paul. So that just opened in June. Actually, the public opening was last weekend. And then we have traveling exhibits that we tour around the country. So one is just closing this weekend at the Bell Museum. Let's see, the Masonic Heritage Center in Bloomington, we put together a museum for them about 5 years ago. And so that's like the local work. There's a few other places like on campus and things like that, new on campus that we've done. And right now we're working on ornithology exhibit for the Bell Museum for their 150th. So that opens at the end of January.
And we have stuff elsewhere in the country?
What's that?
You do museums outside of this
We
area?
do, yeah. Most of that work is, so we've done a lot of work for the Santa Barbara Zoo, a lot of like permanent installations for them out there. A lot of our national stuff is the traveling exhibits. So we rent our exhibits and they travel around to different institutions around the country. So that's also what we do.
so when you say our exhibits, you have a museum?
No, they're traveling exhibits, so this is a way that museums can refresh what they offer their visitors and kind of get people to come back to the museum if they haven't been there for a while to see something new. So there are exhibits that we build that our company owns, but we'll rent them to museums for like 3 months or 6 months.
So what topics?
Mostly natural history, and some of them have living collections of insects. So insects to us are a very direct way to connect people with nature. You know, anybody can, anywhere, they can live in an apartment, they can live out in the country, it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, you can have an encounter with nature like that. And so we kind of try to elevate insects to, you know, that level of connection and interest in learning and live a learning moment. So we have one that is all tarantulas, and we have one that is, it's based on like the circus sideshow, so it's fun and interesting and kind of tongue in cheek, but there's live insects that are with that. The one that's closing at the Bell Museum is also based on insects, but it's sculptures. So we partnered with an artist in Italy who makes these enormous sculptures that are really just gorgeous. And we kind of built a story around museum collections and yeah, with these big models, these big bug models, and talk about museum collections, art within the science, which is a really big piece of STEAM learning right now that people are really capitalizing on. And so yeah, that's been up all summer, closes this weekend. That's a really great one about that one. And then we also just we work with the International Wolf Center. And they have a little traveling exhibit, and we're helping them tour that, and that just opened at the Como Zoo this weekend. I forgot about that. So we do work with the Como Zoo too. So we are really having a good time out here, because it's like what we like just live. We live this kind of thing. So anyway, does anybody want to walk around a little bit more? And use it a little bit more? Yeah, go outside. Maybe get wet or not. I don't know if it's still raining.
Look at the radar, it's kind of misty.
Yeah.
Nothing steady.
I mean, Paul can definitely take a route down the road, but that's probably about as far as, but it's, if you're up for it, it's worth going down just to see the buildings a little up close. They're not as
It's
accessible
muddy
as
down
we'd
there
like
right
them,
now.
and it's pretty tricky.
It's,
So,
we've done a lot of
if you're up for it.
excavating and whatnot down there, but yeah, I mean, happy to take some folks now.
Paul would be happy to take a route down anyway, if he wants to, just walk down the road a little ways.
Yeah, we can go down the road.
Okay.
Like I
Thanks
said,
everyone, so good to
you don't mind
meet
getting your feet a little dirty.
be a part of this community. Everybody's been so helpful, Mike and Nancy, Pat, and everybody's just been around. Everybody's been so nice to us and welcoming, and we're just thrilled to be here. So,
Thanks for letting us speak.
yeah, thanks for coming.
That's a lovely community. I really had never spent much time in Osceola.
Yeah.
I have a good friend that grew up here. His dad was one of the town doctors here, Malcolm Kotek. I don't know if you know him. He's a really good friend of mine. lives in the neighborhood by
Yeah.
us. He's a pretty talented glass artist. Other than that, I really didn't have much fun. Going to patrol hogging when I was a kid skiing, you know. But I hadn't really spent much time here.
I never had, never.
But everybody here is
We got
really
lucky.
nice, and we've met a lot of really
Right?
nice folks.
We landed in the right place.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's great, it's really great.
Well, it's a great little town too, because I mean, there's everything you need is right there. We discovered that up in Siren where we mean, rainy day we can go to a movie. It's like a movie theater around. You know, so it's,
Yeah, but Osceola's pretty special.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, well.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.